Hello, young artists. It's Mr. Scholten here. And if your house is anything like mine, trolls have become really popular again. And so today what we are going to do is we are going to draw Poppy or Branch. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a piece of paper, a pencil, a permanent marker, and I'm going to be using crayons, but you can use any coloring material you like. Grab what you need and let's get started. Okay, I'm going to be drawing both Poppy and Branch. A lot of the steps are similar, so I'm going to draw them together. And when I draw them, I'm going to label my paper so you know which paper you should be following. On your right, you have Poppy, and on your left, you'll have Branch. I'm going to go ahead and work straight with a Sharpie so that you can see what I'm doing, but I'd invite you to use a pencil first. Our first step in drawing Poppy or Branch is to add an oval on our paper. We're going to do that right below halfway on our paper. Come over here. And if you're drawing Poppy, we're going to do the same thing over here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my ears onto the sides of my Poppy or my Branch. Once again, these are going to be just the same on the two of them. I'm going to come out here, I'm going to curve back in like this, and then I'm going to draw a line and a backward C, just like that. When I come over to the opposite side, I want to draw that symmetrically. With a line, and then on this side, because it's the reflection, I'm going to draw a letter C. I'm going to do this also on my Branch. I'm next going to draw the nose. So going right in the middle of my face, I'm going to draw a straight line here. And if I'm drawing Branch, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to draw a straight line here. Notice how I didn't draw it all the way across my paper. Then underneath that line, I'm going to draw a smile. Once again, notice how that smile doesn't connect to the line or to the bottom of my oval here. This is all part of the nose. Then I'm going to connect that straight line and that smile with a curved line, and it makes our troll nose. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the next step, which is the hair. And from here on out, our Branch and our Poppy are going to look a little different. For my Branch, I'm going to start where my ear and my head meet. I'm going to draw a curved line. It curves out, and then it's going to curve in and back out, just like that, a wavy line. I'm going to do the exact opposite. Remember, the mirror image here, the reflection on the opposite side. So I'm going to curve out, in, and back out, just like that. To finish off the top, I'm going to draw a really deep zigzag line. That looks something like this. And to finish out his hair, I can draw some lines going all the way top of his hair and back down again. Poppy's hair is going to be a little different. It's going to take a few extra steps, but it's going to look great when we're done. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another curved line up on top of here that looks like this. That's going to be her hairband. Then I'm going to draw her hair in a ponytail. So this is going to be the hair from her head that's going into the ponytail. And I can draw some curved lines here. Okay. And remember, once again, we're creating it symmetrically. So this side might be the mirror image of this side here. Then I'm going to draw her hairband. So I'm going to draw almost like a rectangle shape here. And I can draw some lines inside of there. That's going to be her hairband. And then from her hairband, I'm going to draw a curved line here and a curved line here. And once again, I'm going to create a really deep zigzag line that connects those two ends. Just like that. And I can add some hairlines going up. Great. Now that we've drawn the hair, we can go ahead and draw the smiles or the mouths. And so I'm going to go right here underneath Poppy. I'm going to draw a curved line here and a curved line here. And I'm going to connect them with a line just like this. And underneath that, I'm going to draw my smile. Now, you could draw this on your branch too, if it's branch like at the end of the movie where he's happy. Or if you want to draw yours like mine, you can just go ahead and draw a straight line off to the side. For their eyes, it's going to be a little different, so I want you to go ahead and follow along with me. Poppy's eyes, I'm going to start with a rainbow on one side and a rainbow on the other side, just like that. For branch, I'm going to draw my rainbows upside down. 1, 2. Now I'm going to connect these lines here on my Poppy with just a slightly curved line. It's almost a straight line with just a slight curve to it. And then branches, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to add his eyebrows here. He is not looking happy. Great. Now I'm going to come back to Poppy here and I'm going to start by drawing a nice big circle. In my classroom, we talk a lot about the different parts of an eye. Each eye has the white part of the eye, the iris, and the pupil. Right now we're drawing the iris, or the colored part of the eye. I'm going to come back and draw a smaller circle on the inside. This will be our pupil. And inside, I'm just going to draw a small square. This is like the reflection of the light in the eyes. And when I color in that small circle, I leave that square or that rectangle white, and it gives the appearance of the reflection in the eyes. Now, if I come over to branch, I'm going to do something similar. I'm just going to go ahead and draw another U here. That's for our iris. And another U here. This is for our pupil. But I still want to give him that reflection in his eyes, even though he looks very upset. And when I go to color in my pupil, once again, I leave that white rectangle uncolored. All right. Now, if I come back over to Poppy, I'm not quite done yet. I have a few extra things that I'm going to give Poppy. So if you're working on branch, you can just take a break and watch here what I do with my Poppy. I'm going to come over here to the side. I'm going to give her some hair that comes on the sides here. So I'm going to come over right about here, just a little off center. I'm going to draw a curved line that comes like that. I can draw a line in it. That's hair coming down one side. And then I'm going to repeat that over on the other side. I'm going to curve around her eye there and make the hair on that opposite side. also for her headband, we want to make sure that we add some flowers. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to add a flower here. I'm going to add some straight lines. And then I can add some triangle leaves. Check out how I almost used the letter V to make those leaves there. I'm going to repeat that over here. And of course, if you're using pencil, you could erase all those extra lines that you find inside your flowers here. And then I'm going to add one more right over here with my leaves in between. All right, we're going to go ahead and draw our clothes next. And I noticed that my papers kind of got away from me here, so I'm going to slide them up so you can see a little bit better. And the first thing I'm going to do is work here on Poppy. I'm going to go ahead and start with the neck of her shirt. And so I'm going to start over on one side of her head, and I'm going to draw a diagonal line that goes all the way down to the bottom of the paper. Then I'm going to come over on the other side of her head, and I'm going to draw another diagonal line, creating a nice wide Y shape. You see how it almost looks like a Y there? Okay, and over on Branch, I'm going to create a curved line underneath his head that looks something like this, almost like an oval. On both Branch and Poppy, I'm going to add some shoulders. So two short lines just like this, one on each side of the head. And then when I'm done, I'm going to add the sleeve. So it's just a curved line that curves down to the bottom of my page. Okay, now we have those curved lines. Also on Branch, I'm going to add a line here and a line here. That's kind of like the opening of his vest. So you could actually erase right here if you were using a pencil. You could erase that little line right in between there just to make it look like the two sides of his vest. Now to create the shoulders, I'm going to draw a curved line here that curves down to the bottom of the page, and a curved line here that goes down to the bottom of the page. And the same is true for Branch. I'm going to draw those two lines going down on either side. And then Branch also has some texture on his vest. So if that's something you'd like to draw, I'm just drawing kind of wavy lines like that. You can see the waves there. And it's almost like a scale pattern. So when I create scales, I go from the center of one bump and go to the center of the next bump, just like that. Okay, and I always go from center to center. So I'm going to go from center here to center there. Again. All right, now I can repeat that over on the other side. So I'm going to make my scale pattern, or my wavy line here. And then to make that scale pattern, I go from center to center. Same thing here, center to center, just like that. All right, next I'm going to show you really quickly how you can add some blush or some color to Poppy's cheeks to make it look like she's bright and alive and vibrant, just like you see here. Okay, if you're looking to make some color in your Poppy's cheeks, kind of like I did here, you can kind of see here in the cheeks the color's a little bit darker. I also use the same effect for above her eyes to kind of give some color above her eyes as well. If that's something you'd like to do, go ahead, like I said, grab your red violet and your pink. Now my red violet's seen a lot of love. You can see it's pretty run down, but using a crayon that has kind of a softened tip is not a bad thing. You can really kind of control the pressure and the marks that you're creating here. And I'm going to color really lightly with my red violet. And I might start a little darker, but then as I work my way out, I'm going to get lighter and lighter so it kind of blends out into nothing. I'm barely just touching my crayon to the paper there. Just like that. I'm going to repeat that on the opposite side. Like I said, I'm starting here fairly reasonable pressure. And then I'm going to go ahead and just lighten the pressure until I'm barely touching the crayon to the paper. And I don't know if you've noticed, but when I color, I'm actually coloring in little circles. I'm not coloring back and forth. I'm just kind of coloring in loops here. And one of the reasons why I do that is that it hides kind of the marks created by your crayon. And so it gives it just a nice blended effect when I color that way. You don't see any streaks or marks from coloring. Okay, when I'm ready and I'm happy with what I have here, I'm going to lighten up just a little bit as I come down this way. Then I'm going to go over the top of all of that with my pink crayon, and I can just apply a nice generous amount of color here. I'm coloring fairly hard over the top of it, and what that does is it blends the colors together. And I won't color all of Poppy's face here, but I'll show you what this looks like once I have finished coloring over 1/2 of Poppy's face here. It gives it this really kind of cool blended effect. Color in the cheeks is really going to give it the idea that she's full of life and happy. Okay. And so that's what it would look like if you added a bit of color to your Poppy's cheeks. Once again, good luck. I hope you have fun. And if you find that you finished this project, go ahead and post it for me to see. Enjoy creating.